Today I'm going to show you the CAT M-4 bolt carrier group cleaning tool. This is made by CAT Outdoors. It comes in a little folder like this, which tells you all the different features of the tool itself right there. It's got a firing pin cleaner, which is right here. I'm going to demonstrate that. It's got the bolt tail scraper here, which I'm going to show you that as well. A 1/4-inch hex head bit holder, which you can use to put any kind of a bit in there, kind of like a makeshift tool. And it's got the actual carrier scraper on this end, and it's got a little slot here if you want to put a patch in here to help you clean out the bolt carrier, and I'll show you how we do that. First, you want to take your bolt carrier, you want to get the firing pin retainer out, which is right here. Looks like a cotter pin. Once you do that, your firing pin will fall out. If your bolt is all the way out, you need to push it all the way in and turn the cam pin 90 degrees so that it will fit past the gas tube. That will pull right on out. Once you do that, the bolt pulls right out of the carrier. Alright, at this point you want to get some gloves on because you're going to be handling some carbon buildup. This firing pin's kind of dirty, but it doesn't really have a lot of buildup as far as carbon goes. But what you would do is simply take it, push it through right here, and just turn it back and forth, and that's going to scrape all the carbon off. This area here is where the carbon is going to build up. That came up pretty clean. There is a little carbon there, so I might get a little of my gun solvent. I keep it in a Menda dispenser, pumps a little bit up. I'm going to dip a rag in there, and I'm just going to use gun solvent to clean this firing pin up. While I'm here, get a little solvent on the cam pin, just wipe that with a dry rag. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is get the bolt. Place where carbon really builds up is right around here. There's a little tiny bit of carbon buildup here. You can kind of see that. And again, this is not really going to cause a problem with your gun. You don't have to remove all this. But some of us are a little bit anal, and we like to make sure that we're keeping ahead of the carbon buildup. So all you would do here is slide this right in here. It fits perfectly. Turn that, putting a little bit of pressure on it, and it fits exactly to the shape of the bolt tail, so it's not going to scrape the metal off. A lot of people have seen some of my videos and they're like, you can't scrape these, you're going to scrape the metal off. Don't push it with all your strength and you're not going to scrape any metal off. I'm just turning it. It fits in there perfectly. There's nothing digging into the metal. I'm just turning it and it's getting all the loose stuff off of there. And get your rag in there. That's all you got to do. You just want to get it so it doesn't keep building up to the point where you have a ton of carbon in here. You can go further if you want. You can get some solvent and go in there, but if you've got like a nitride coated bolt or something like that, you want to be careful what chemicals you use. So that's what that part of the tool is for. The next place where carbon builds up is down in the bottom of the carrier itself. Okay, I got some light down in there for you to see. You can see down in the bottom there's a little bit of carbon buildup. So you can take the scraper, put it in there. Don't crank it with all your strength. People are going to freak out that I'm taking metal off my carrier, but in reality this is really not going to do that. A little bit of carbon coming out of there. Just trying to keep it from building up, so you don't have to get it all out of there. Alright, there's a little bit on the end. So the other thing we can do, get some solvent on a patch, pull it through just kind of like this. Get the patch soaked with a little bit of solvent. Put that in there. Turn that in there a bunch of times. So you just do that a few times until one of these patches comes out pretty clean, and you're going to remove most of the problematic carbon out of the inside of the bolt carrier using this tool. Then once you're done there, you just go through with a cotton swab or some rags and some solvent, clean up the rest of the considerably dirty bolt carrier you have there. Just keep doing that till it comes up pretty clean. Go over your actual bolt, solvent, and get this nice and cleaned up. I'm not going to go through all of it here, but this is the idea. I just wanted to show you how to use the tool. One last thing I also like to do, pipe cleaners. Pipe cleaners are great for cleaning out the firing pin channel in the bolt. You just push that through a couple of times. Once you're done, clean everything up with a dry swab. Get all the cotton pieces off of there. Wipe everything down, and then we're ready to put it all back together. Alright, before you put your bolt carrier back together, we want to put a little lubrication on there. I use original gun oil for all my lubrication. It's non-toxic. I'll put a link down in the description below if you want to pick up some of this. I've had people tell me you got to lube this up really well. Other people say be pretty sparing. I like to kind of go right in the middle. So you want a little lube around the gas rings here. I just use my fingers. I want to put a little lube. Nothing crazy, but the more lube you have, the less carbon's going to build up in there. But you don't want to go crazy because it's also going to attract dirt. I just kind of run my fingers with lube over everything. You don't want to put any lube on the firing pin because you don't want anything to thicken up in there and kind of get in the way of the firing pin moving. That's kind of what I do. You're going to put a little lube here before you put it back into the gun. Right along these edges here, that's where it slides. Alright, so once you get a little lube on there, you're going to put your bolt in this way. So you need to know which side it goes. So your cam pin only fits in one way. So it fits in here, it doesn't fit in this side. So you want to make sure this side is the side that's facing up. Put your bolt in, line up the hole in the bolt with that slot right here at the bottom. Take your cam pin, doesn't matter which way this goes in. Drop it in. It's only going to go in horizontally like this. Then you can turn it. You have to turn it so your firing pin will go in. So once that's turned, now your firing pin can be dropped right down into the hole in the middle. Make sure that goes in all the way, and then get your firing pin retainer, push that right in there. Sometimes you're going to have to work that around. I've had bolt carriers where this just wouldn't go in. You got to play with it, mess around with it, pull it out and bend it. But once you get that in, you are good to go. Now you can put your bolt carrier group right back into your AR. Alright, so I'm going to have a link in the description for all the items that I used here, including this solvent dispenser. A lot of people like those, the cotton swabs and everything. So hit like below and look in the description for links to everything that I used here. Give this a try. If this is a little expensive for you, here's another option. I've got another video. This is a real Avid AR-15 scraper tool. It's got similar features. I did a video on this. I'll link to that up above here as well. This one's about half the price of this. It is a little bigger, but it's got the scraping tool on this side for the carrier and the bolt tail scraper on this side. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.